Thank you guys for tuning in today. I have a fantastic guest on, a great mentor of mine and has become a wonderful friend as well. Ryan Beckman, the head coach of St. Petersburg College. He has a lot of insight that he's going to be able to provide us with today. And Coach Beck, just a little bit about yourself, maybe your background. How did it all start with the game and your passion first developed, that sort of thing?
Yeah, well, first off, Robbie, thank you for having me. My background, kind of just a baseball rat. Grew up 14 houses down from the Blue Jays facility, so 92, 93, I was just a young buck, and watching them win World Series titles, you had no choice but to love the game of baseball.
Wow.
Guys I looked up to were Joe Carter, Paul Molitor, Pat Borders, Ed Sprague, Devon White, Ricky Henderson, the list goes on and on. From there, kind of just took the route of everyone else, played high school baseball, played college baseball for 1 year, and looked in the mirror and said, you know what? I love playing the game of baseball, but I really enjoy coaching it. During the high school years, I started doing clinics and helping out some hitting guys that I worked with, doing clinics and camps and practices for youth baseball teams. So I really loved that and grew for a passion. Doing that took me into coaching at my alma mater, Dunedin High School.
Yes.
Helped them win a state title in 2008. From there, went on, helped revitalize the program, Calvary Christian, which Greg Olson then took it over and made it a national power. So very proud of what Greg's done there. And during that time, I came over to St. Pete College. I was here for 1 year as an assistant coach, and the next year I became the head coach. And 9 years later, I'm still here and plugging away. So
wow, I'm sure that's been quite the learning experience, getting in at a young age, and then 9 years now. That's a great tenure.
Yeah, 16 years overall. I've been coaching
Wow.
for a long time. That doesn't even count the days when I was still a player and would coach on the side.
Wow.
But 16 years as a coach now.
Yeah, my gosh, and what passion that you have for the game, and I do see it some players as well. We all want to be that star player, but this is a prime example of where we can add value in several other ways. We just maybe have to change our perspective, and maybe through that love with the game, we can find ways, even after our playing career, to kind of contribute, that sort of thing.
Yeah, I mean, there's only 1% that make it to the big leagues, or less than that. So you love the game of baseball. You have a passion for the game of baseball. You can find ways to be involved in it beyond being a player.
Yes.
And that's one thing for me. It was coaching. I grew up in a coaching family, so it was a natural transition for me. You can scout. You can be a front office guy. You can be a clubby. Depending on what your personality is and how it clicks, the game of baseball needs all different sorts and walks of life to help it run at the elite level that it runs.
Yes, and I think that is attributes to being selfless in a way, or maybe thinking about others and maybe just the team environment at first, but now it's developed into this thing where, and we talked about this as, for me, you were the one coach that I had here, but I have been one of, 14 years has it been altogether?
16 years
16
coaching.
years coaching. So times 30, we're talking about several players that you've been able to impact and in their lives, and forming those relationships. How have those relationships over the years kind of developed and with those players and where they're at now? Do you still keep in touch with most of those players and how they've gone on to do well in life and that sort of thing?
I think any relationship is different. The relationship Robbie and I have is not the relationship that Mike or Joe or Steve and I have. So our relationship is special, but I have a different relationship with Mike. I have a different relationship with Joe. I have a different relationship with Steve. You do your best to keep in contact with everybody, but my numbers are growing, and it's tough to keep track of everybody. So
yeah,
you cherish the ones that are special, and if a relationship's meant to be, it's meant to be, and it'll happen naturally.
And I think maybe you found early on that you had innate ability or passion for the aspect of coaching and having family in it as well. But I think something that I've experienced in my time here was patience. How important is that? Because I know you helped me out tremendously. I wouldn't be where I am without your patience and understanding and mentorship. So, how has that played a part, working with 18, 19-year-old kids at the junior college level and stuff like that?
My passion's for people more than anything. So when you have a passion for people and you have a caring for the individual that goes beyond the game of baseball, patience comes naturally because you're seeing into the soul of the person and not just the player that's late, the player
Yes.
that's not listening, the defiant attitude.
Mhm.
You see why that defiant attitude's there, and it's, hey, something's going on in his life beyond the game of baseball that I have to be here for.
Mhm.
So that's kind of how I address those.
Yeah,
those
absolutely.
issues.
And this is something that I experience a lot is people put such a high priority on baseball and the performance aspect of it, whereas right now what we're primarily talking about is relationships and the development through the game of baseball, as opposed to, just is it a major league or bust thing. There's several other components or areas of development that, say, young players are able to get through their pursuit of the game. Have you kind of seen that players through their pursuit of the game developing off the field as well, that kind of thing, learning things like that?
Yeah, baseball's just it's just a tool. We love the game of baseball. It's a great skill set. It's a great game. But at the end of the day, it kind of resembles life. The guy that's sporadic on the mound kind of has a sporadic life. The guy that is unreliable as a hitter is kind of unreliable in life.
Wow.
And the same for the positives. The guy that is super reliable, he's super reliable with everything he does. So you see character come out in the game of baseball.
Right.
And my job is just to drive and, preach the character so that these guys can become members of our community, male influences and male role models to the next set of young men.
Wow, absolutely. That's a tremendous point. And along with that, and kind of adding some more value here to the viewers is, along with, the character and their talent when you're recruiting, for example, how does that all play? What do you look for in aspects of, say, their talent? Is that way up here as opposed to, talking to their teachers and that sort of thing? Or is it kind of 50-50? Or is it one, character opposed to the other? What would you?
So it's kind of a slippery slope. The Florida junior college level is elite baseball. I mean, our players go on to professional baseball, Division I programs, very high level Division II and NAIA programs. So junior college baseball in Florida is super elite. So with that, you've got to try to put a competitive product on the field. So the skill set is important.
Yes.
For me, the body and the strength of the body is very important.
Mm-hmm.
That comes probably number one overall. And then, yes, I want to work with good kids. I spend 180 days with these guys, 90 in the fall semester, 90 in the spring semester. You want to be around good kids that you enjoy, guys that you can have fun with, the guys that you can joke around with. Nobody wants to be around a guy that just is a energy vampire taking the life out of you.
Mm-hmm.
So with that being said, yeah, my priorities would be 1, strength, 2, character, 3, skill set.
Right.
But again, it's not always a perfect order.
Mm-hmm.
Academics is slipped in there somewhere along the way. Unfortunately, because it is college and college costs money, financial situations slipped in there at some point.
Wow.
I've come across a lot of players that I absolutely love, but I just couldn't get to campus because our scholarship package doesn't cover everything they need.
Yeah.
And
this is interesting to me. Some of the players that I've come across with say they're a little older, 16, 17, 18. They may have ability on the field, but they almost have this mentality of, I'll go to college and I'll play baseball if I were to get a scholarship, or if, like, almost as if it were to fall in their lap. Do you experience, are there players out there, are they reaching out to you to send you their information? Are there hungry players out there? Because sometimes I run into that mentality of players, if it falls into my lap kind of thing. Is it more of that? Are you going to be going out there to get them? Or is it almost like, are people knocking at your door trying to get in here? What do you experience?
I get 50 to 70 emails a day from the companies that help you recruit and make connections with small colleges, all the way to phone calls from
50
alumni.
to 70 emails a day. Yeah.
So all the way to alumni that says, hey, I got a player, to local scouts, regional scouts, my network of baseball. There's always calls and there's always players, to my knowledge. To answer your question more directly, yeah, there are things that happen that, I can't I don't understand why God put that player in my life, but he put that player here. Those kinds of situations is, you just don't know why it happens, but we recruit all avenues. We recruit all avenues that people get into college baseball. It's just the right fit at the right time. You know, I don't need a catcher today, but in 2 weeks my catcher may break his wrist and I need a catcher. You just don't know how the game of baseball works, so you just gotta
Wow. Yeah.
roll with the timing of recruiting.
Some powerful words and some great insight for sure. And I don't want to hold you too long because I know you're busy and there's a lot going on today. So thank you so much for this time. But if there's something for, say, the young player, 10, 12, 14, even 16, the player out there that's listening in right now, they may have big league aspirations, maybe wanting to pursue college, maybe not sure how to go about it, or if it's really something they want to commit to. Is it going to pay that long-term return on my investment of time, right? That's always something that we think about, say, when we're 10, 12, 14. It's like, down the road, I hope that I'm going to get something out of this because I'm putting so much time in.
Yeah.
Right? What's something that you would say to that player out there at home listening now about that pursuit?
Think about how much time you put into your homework. Your grades are a direct reflection of that. Think about how much time you put into your job. If you have a job, whether it's working at a McDonald's, a Home Depot, a local flower shop, whatever, you're going to get direct return on the hours that you work there. Baseball's the same way. You got to put the time in. You got to work hard to get what you want out of it. The kicker to that is sometimes you don't get what you want, and you can be the hardest worker. You can go above and beyond. You can be the model example, but the game of baseball just it picks and chooses who it wants. Unfortunately, we don't get to out hustle or outwork. The only thing you do is focus on what you control. You know what? I gave it my best effort, and I'm willing to end my career on my terms. I'm willing to take my career to the next opportunity. But it starts with an opportunity, and you take it from there. I don't know if that answers your question.
No, that does. That's great. Perfect. So you heard it here from the horse's mouth, the head coach of St. Petersburg College. Thank you so much again for